Well, first of all, thank you for calling me a witness, because I was not on the committee on purpose. What I think what surprised me the most is how passionate and committed the committee was to the work, and that they really truly got out there and wanted to hear the voices. And they wanted to hear the voices not only from the staff, but also the community, the businesses, the students. And so their commitment to the work, and it was hard work, because a lot of people have their own agendas of what they want to happen and their own perception of what is happening. So to be able to take all of that information and then try to analyze that information and then discern what is best for our school district that is still committed to hearing the voices of the people that participated. You know, a lot of people came from when they would voice their opinion in the strategic plan, would come from what they know best and what they see that is needed. So a lot of people came from different angles. I don't want to say there were surprises, but there were things that I had never thought of. So to me, the innovative conversations, the forethinking that people had, I mean, people were talking about, you know, what can we do to get our kids out in the community more, to do internships? And let's explore externships, and what do they look like? And how can we get our community in our schools more? I mean, that whole conversation was really dynamic when you're looking at a table of people or a group of people that are sitting around in chairs talking about this, and none of them are educators. So it's bringing in that other perspective. And what we also saw through the strategic planning process was that we also learned that a lot of people didn't know what we did do. And to me, that meant that I needed to do more educating. So as you can tell, I do get out in the community, and anytime anybody asks me to speak, I will speak on education. Because I do think we need to tell our story, and we need to tell what we are doing. Not that we're doing everything perfect, not that we're doing everything right, but we need to tell our story, because if we don't tell our story, someone else will make up a story. And that was another thing that was really impressive with the strategic plan. You know, we were looking at safety, we were looking at facilities, we were looking at partnerships, we were looking at academics, we were looking at extracurricular, but the conversation kept going back to students. And that, to me, is powerful. I was just really excited that people understand that all of this begins with children reading by 3rd grade. It all begins there, and we talked about that last time, and I am very passionate about that. We were able, with the help of the County Council and the Board of Education, be able to hire another English language learner teacher, a special education teacher, a reading specialist, 2 gifted and talented teachers, and another elementary teacher to keep our class sizes lower. So we were able to add some things. Now this plan begins this year, so I just keep seeing that it's going to get bigger and bigger and better and better. And that doesn't always mean that we need money. That means that we need focus. Yeah. And so the plan will be our roadmap and keep us focused. And as I said, a lot of things in our plan do not require money. They require that intentional focus that we need on a particular strategy. Another strategy that I thought was very innovative and creative was really looking at ways to make high school different and middle school different. One, middle school being a little more exploratory on the career options, more exploratory on student interests, and adding some courses and adding some tools that students can use to learn more about themselves as individuals and their interests, but also about the career opportunities that might be out there. So as they plan for high school, they're actually planning more intentionally and more purposefully. At the high school level, what was exciting was how many of the businesses out there really want to help us change high school. And you know, high school doesn't have to be 4 walls. There's really, I'm having a meeting with Dr. Vinier from the Chesapeake College tomorrow morning, and we're going to be talking about what are some things that we can do to partner so that our students are getting college credits or certification while they're in high school. Why not? And really help our kids see that we want them to be college and career ready when they graduate from high school. And what does that mean? That means going to college and not having to take a remediation course. That means going into the world of work and having some kind of a certification that they can step into the world of work and be certified in something with that skill and knowledge that they need to do that trade or job.
Now, can that happen at the high school level?
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
So,
last year, not last year, the year before last, we had a student graduate from Chesapeake College with an associate degree, and the very next week graduated from high school. So it can happen, but it does take purposeful planning because you really need to map it out. And I'm not saying that every student's going to graduate with both degrees at the same time, but I think it would also be beneficial for our students financially to be able to get some of those credits while they're in high school. And then it gives them a kind of a leg up in getting into college. So we begin with our assessments pretty much at kindergarten. And we have kindergarten assessments that we do, and they're basically assessments that are done on readiness. Are our students ready for school by the time they come to kindergarten? We do offer universal pre-K to all students, but we don't have all students in our pre-K program because they could be in a private pre-K, they could be in a home daycare. But we do it starts with kindergarten. So we have a kindergarten assessment that really, it helps us measure the skills that are needed to be ready for kindergarten. 2 weeks ago, I did a luncheon, and the luncheon was all about early learning and what parents can be doing at home to help us with school readiness. So we start with kindergarten, we look at our readiness strategies. One of the things that we need to do as a school system is we need to reach out to those other agencies and those parents and really let them know what are the things they can be doing to help us have our students ready for kindergarten. And then beginning in kindergarten and first grade, we start doing diagnostic reading assessments on our children. And we also take a look at, we do that every year. Every year we have reading assessments that we give quarterly to our children. And it assesses whether our children are being able to not only read the words, but so we have decoding, but we also have fluency, how well they read. We also have comprehension. So do they understand what they read? And those assessments are given individually by teachers with a student. So it's an individual one-on-one assessment. It's not a bubble in. It's read to me. I'm kind of scoring as you go. And then I'm going to ask you some questions about what you read. And so we use those assessments to determine whether students are reading on grade level. The other thing that we're doing in the elementary level is we have our new Maryland State assessments have moved to PARCC assessments. And there are state assessments. And we haven't gotten those results from last year yet. But what we've done is based on the standards, the Common Core standards that we've been given. So Common Core is not a curriculum, they're just standards. Here's what we want students to be able to do. So based on those standards, we have developed benchmark assessments. So each quarter, we may give a benchmark assessment, which is like a snapshot. Where is this child in time based on these measures by the end of 3rd grade, or by the end of 5th grade, or 6th grade? So we take a look at those, and actually those benchmarks really help teachers then be able to do flexible grouping in the classroom. These students already have these standards, so it's time to let them move on and go to enrichments. Right. These students may not be grasping those standards, so it's time to do some remediation. These students are almost there, but let's keep working with them and delve a little deeper. So it really does help with the instructional process. So that's 3rd grade. And then when you look at your partnerships, we are looking at the number of partnerships and the types of partnerships that we have in our community. And we're also looking at what process we have in place to determine where students are being intentional in their planning for their coursework. When it comes to academics, we're looking at our assessments with advanced placement courses, SATs, graduation rate, dropout rate. There's a lot of data out there, and we do need to pay attention to that data because it can tell us a lot about how we're doing as a school system. As far as safety goes, we do have a safety checklist. We look at discipline referrals, we look at suspensions. We also take a look at our surveys in our community and really see what our community thinks about the safety of our schools. And I do meet with the staff, each of the staffs of the buildings twice a year, and I meet with each of the SGAs, the student governments. So I hear the students' perspective. Well, it used to be about what's for lunch, and actually they're kind of happy about lunches right now. So now it's more about the cell phones, but that's okay.
Tell me about the cell phone.
Well, you know, they just want to know why we can't, you know, at middle school and elementary school, because they can have them in high school. And now middle school, why can't we? So, you know, sometimes the conversation changes depending on what's happening in society. Well, and I think what's really important about the Common Core, and if you talk to teachers, I think at the beginning it was very stressful because it came out so fast and everybody expected it all to be done overnight. And a lot of it was increasing the rigor. So we increased the rigor all the way through pre-K through grade 12. So a lot of the things that might have been expected in 5th grade are now expected in 3rd grade. So the Common Core state standards, when you really look at those standards throughout our school district, we did have to make some adjustments with our alignment. Now, the beauty of the Common Core state standards is they are standards. So they're not lessons, they're not curriculum. So teachers are able to pick and choose a variety of resources to help students meet those standards, which is really interesting for teachers because then they can meet their students' needs based on their interest. You know, we're in a good place. We're in a good place as a school system, and I think our plan, our strategic plan, you know, we used to plan for a budget, and I think we're budgeting for this plan. And so I think we're in a good place. I don't think we're asking for a lot. I do think we will continue to ask for our teachers to be compensated for their work, and our staff, all of our employees. And I do think that one of the areas that we are going to need to continue to focus on is that reading at 3rd grade, and maybe a special education teacher or another gifted and talented, because we have tested all of our children in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and now we have a group that we're going to be providing more enrichment to. But I think it's going to be a process where people will see where this plan and is the focus. Yeah, and I think it's a great way to do a budget, is to budget for the plan.